All right, everybody, welcome back to MCO. Another post Backlash edition. Makeup for all the missed shows. We've had a real busy coming out of winter into spring here, and we're excited to get back into it, you guys. And we're gonna make up for a little bit of lost time, a little bit of lost events. Eli and I have gone to a bunch of different shows, and we've kept busy and ton of information, I guess, in our brains. We need to get it out to you guys. But Eli, what do you get to say?
Well, I do agree we've been gone, but it's time to get back on track here. Let's talk about a couple big things we missed. We have debuts of NXT stars, the retirement of Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns is the new World Heavyweight Champion. CM Punk unfortunately lost.
Yeah.
We've been going to events. We went to Monday Night Raw earlier in the year. Just went to NXT, a live event that happened here close by. I met Joe Hendry before he got caught up, which was pretty cool. We met Joe Hendry. But yeah, we've missed a lot, and it's time to get back on track here. And Backlash happened yesterday, so I think it's time when we get.
Triple H raided the closet, man. He went in there and said, "Ooh, I'm gonna say that NXT was like a bare cabinet there for like a week." He just grabbed all the stars and plucked them out. Was pretty crazy to do that, and I guess it's really cool because there's more youngsters coming up and more people coming in, and I would say that it's a pretty healthy bench, if you will, of players. This is probably the best. If it was a draft class, I guess you would say probably the best draft class they've ever had. But at the same time, yeah, it's exciting to see all these new stars come up from. We talked about Joe Hendry, who was just a great guy, by the way. Really cares about the fans and taking care of people, which is pretty special. Your buddy there, who's the guy that
Ethan Page.
Yeah.
Main roster, Monday Night Ego. Listen, CM Punk is my favorite wrestler, but I will say, All Ego Ethan Page is my second favorite on the roster right now.
I'll take Ethan over Punk any day.
Listen, I'm wearing a shirt. I love Ethan Page, but he deserves future World Heavyweight Champion right there. Let me say, but I'm very impressed with these NXT call-ups, and can't wait to see where they go in the future. But at this time, I think it's time that we talk about Backlash that happened last night.
Sure.
What a show, I will say. Very, very good show. Solid 7 out of 10, 7, 8 out of 10. Big speculation from WrestleMania was that if Backlash was going to have a lot of ads and have short run times for matches, but this, I was very happy to see that there weren't that many ads that were that long, and we had matches that went over 12, 15 minutes. That is what we wanted as fans, not 7-minute matches. I was glad to see that. We had good, amazing in-ring work with wrestlers. The ads still were there, they were relevant, and it was good that they showed them, but I'm glad that,
Listen, my only point with last night is that they're still missing some pageantry and show. I think they could be doing a better job with the whole entrances, the pyrotechnics, the kind of entourage, if you will, of these personalities. I think we have to do a better way of elevating the difference between a standard Monday night, Friday night show into a special event like that. There needs to just be something a little different, and I think we're missing it. The matches were great, and I think yes, the longevity and all of that stuff was on key, and I think everybody really made up for the lack of wrestling at WrestleMania. But so kudos to that. I think that was a 10 out of 10, but we're still missing entrances.
I do agree. Like 6 years ago, we used to get stages that were pretty cool. I mean, all of WWE history used to get stages that were pretty cool. WrestleMania stages. They did rush the WrestleMania stage, I will say. They could have done a little bit better, in my opinion, on that. And PLEs, I do agree. I feel like you can make them a little bit more special with more effort into the stages, because the stage looked like you could just change the picture right to Monday Night Raw and it looked like the same arena. But I agree with that. I think there could be improvement on that. But the show as a whole, I will give 7 or 8 out of 10. I think it's time we start with the first match of the night, which was the visionary, the revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins versus the badass Braun Breaker.
Yeah. Listen, great storyline moving up to this. Great match. I will say that I don't think their chemistry was exactly on with each other. I don't know if they were just trying too hard to put on an amazing match, which I think they did do, but I think they were just reaching a little bit too outside the comfort zone. But at the end of the day, I understand the reason for putting Braun Breaker over on that match. Obviously, the Vision got involved. Paul Heyman was his typical self. Seth, by all means, really won the match. Yes, he lost, but I think overall he outperformed those guys, which makes sense. And my only problem with that is when you have something as hot as Seth Rollins, you don't throw water on it, unless there's a bigger piece to this puzzle coming that I don't know. But Seth's run as champion and face of the business is not finished as far as I'm concerned, and I was just a little bit bothered by that they made him take the L last night.
Listen, Seth Rollins is no doubt about it a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's he's going to be a Hall of Famer no matter what. He's a hot wrestler. He's good at wrestling, and even if you make him lose, it's not taking that fire away from him because of how good he is in the history he's had. He lost to Gunther at WrestleMania. He lost to Braun Breaker, but yet he's still one of the hottest things in the business, and that won't go away. It doesn't matter whether he loses, he's going to come back. I'm sure that feud with Braun Breaker isn't over. I enjoyed that match very much. I think it showed the smartness of Seth Rollins knowing that the Vision, when the Vision came, he took a chair out. He knew it was happening when Paul Heyman distracted the ref, which was pretty smart, I will say. That was a pretty cool spot. Seth Rollins is smart. He knows what to do. He's seen the stuff that Braun Breaker can do. Obviously, he lost, but I don't think that feud's over. I think there's a trilogy happening. I think it's going to finish at SummerSlam. But
if they're smart, Seth will get another run here pretty soon because it's just got to happen. He's too good of a wrestler, too great of a storyteller, too much of a big picture guy. You got to have him. Listen, a lot of these icons that are left, unfortunately, their time is numbered. So in my opinion, they need to find a way to get him back into the big picture game quickly. But anyhow, you ready to move on? Let's get
No, I still want to talk a little bit about this. So where I think this could go from here is, as I said, I think this needs to become a trilogy. I don't think that Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker are over. Seth Rollins is going to end up winning the feud, I believe. Even though putting Braun Breaker over is smart, like they just did. Braun Breaker is going to be a future World Heavyweight Champion, but this feud is not over with. It's going to happen, I bet you, at Clash in Italy. It's going to happen probably at SummerSlam too, but that's definitely where this is going to go. And what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I definitely don't see it over with. Obviously, there's more left there, not only with Braun, but Gunther, and I can see some things building there, for future stories. So yeah, let's see where it goes. But I do agree. I think Seth's gonna have another run in him before this is all over with.
Yeah, Seth is definitely not done anytime soon. I mean, yes, he's getting older. He might be done in the next 4 or 5 years. I don't know. I mean, he has had back issues, but I would never know. Hope he's there for a little bit longer. But let's move on to the second match of the night. Sami Zayn versus Lemon Peppa Steppa Trick Williams.
Yeah, man, this whole thing with Gingerbread Man and all that was really kind of stupid. I think we're getting off track a little bit on that, but obviously it was a great match. I think they did well. Trick Williams is obviously an upcoming star. I still think he's not quite where he needs to be U.S. champion, but nevertheless, they pulled the trigger on that a little quickly, and I think he's going to grow into it a little bit. But yeah, no, he's a great performer. It was a great match. Sami Zayn's, surprisingly, there's still kind of a 50-50 love-hate relationship out there for him. Unfortunately, I do see them wanting to make him maybe be a title contender for the heavyweight championship. But yeah, I don't know. Good match. I enjoyed it, and I just wish they take the stupid, corny gingerbread man thing out of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about the gingerbread man. Listen, I didn't have much of a problem with it, but once the point got to the funeral of the gingerbread man, I mean, yeah, that was a little corny. But um, listen, I don't know what you were getting at with that Trick Williams isn't ready for this. I don't know. Listen, man, that pop that he gets every single time
It's
with
not
his
about
entrance.
the pop. It's about his in-ring performance. It's about his persona in the ring, his skill level. I think he's not. He's maybe 90% there. Like I don't think he's. I just don't see him being crisp and clean and in command of everything. It still seems like he hesitates a little bit and kind of questions his abilities when he's in the ring. It's just not. It's not smooth. Does that make sense? It's not smooth.
I'm gonna disagree with you there,
You
but
can disagree, but
I can disagree. Let us know in the comments. But Sami Zayn, I think the double turn has obviously happened. Sami Zayn's, yeah, I don't think it's 50-50 like you said. Honestly, Tampa's crowd didn't really show as much hate as I wanted to see for Sami Zayn. But I feel like everywhere else we've been seeing the hate of Sami Zayn, and yet he still believes he has those diehard Sami fans. Listen, I don't really want Sami near the World Heavyweight Championship or the Heavyweight Championship.
they have to do it.
Listen, I guess, but Trick Williams did deserve that win. That was the right call. I'm glad their match went 13 minutes. You got to fit everything in there. It didn't feel like rushed, like it was at WrestleMania where they had 7 minutes and Trick Williams won, and they had to get Sami Zayn feel like a heel. Sami was able to use the kendo stick, able to attack Little Yachty, and I think that was a perfect the way that they really told the story at Backlash, and that's also another thing where it's like they need the time, and they obviously showed how much time can do.
There's going to be a Kofi Kingston effect here. You know, Kofi, one of the greatest workers, great wrestler. Same thing, put in a lot of time and effort. Sami Zayn's along the same area with Kofi. He's going to win the title, and then he'll hold on to it for maybe a month or two, and then he'll lose in some big fashion to somebody like an Obafemi, or somebody will crush him, and then he'll be out. And then it'll just be, but it'll be a way to say thank you for the years of what he's done. I just see it coming. So, as much as I don't want to see that because I really can't stand him, it's happening. So,
like Brock Lesnar with Kofi Kingston.
Yep.
By the way, really upset by the New Day's release. Or, man, I know they requested it, but really unfortunate they couldn't pay him. TKO, listen, man, you got to step up here. TKO is kind of like slowly but surely ruining the thing that we love, and it's really unfortunate. But I know that they're trying to get younger instead of older, and
Listen, we don't know all the details. You don't know what these people demanded for pay, or let's not make TKO the villain.
TKO is the villain.
It's a two-way street here. Let's see what happens.
I agree, but yes, Trick Williams, Sami Zayn, great match. I think that feud should be over now. Maybe a couple little sprinkles on Friday Night SmackDown of still talking to each other, but I think it should be pretty much over by now. Sami needs to move on. Trick needs to move on. From here, Trick Williams could go fight people like Ilya Dragunov, go fight people like Carmelo Hayes, maybe even get new called up Ricky Saints in there. That would be pretty cool because they're both great on the mic. But yeah, great match. Solid 8 out of 10, I would say.
I agree.
Let's move on though. Next match we had Kit Wilson in The Miz versus Danhausen in a mystery partner. Listen, everybody thought this mystery partner for Danhausen was going to be Jelly Roll, CM Punk, Obafemi. No. Minihausen. Listen, I was impressed by Minihausen. Minihausen, if you didn't know, he is a wrestler from AAA. Behind the mask, he's a great wrestler, and with the mask, he's a great wrestler. But I was actually really impressed by this, even though it's kind of a comedy skit, kind of. And I know there's some people out there who do not like the comedy aspect of wrestling, but if it fits after a good night of wrestling, and I honestly, I don't care for the I don't care that they do the comedy skits. I find it kind of funny sometimes when it's in there. Danhausen's funny. I know in our last video we kind of trashed on Danhausen, but listen, Danhausen's grew a lot on us, and I like the idea of the comedy aspect. I found it great with the Minihausen army coming out of the clone machine. Kate Wilson and The Miz did an amazing job. I really liked the match. Great match in the middle. Pretty fun comedy skit. What do you think?
Yeah, I no complaints. I think, you didn't know where this whole Danhausen thing was going to go and how it was going to fit in. Clearly he has some skill in the ring and he can wrestle. I just want to, I guess I would just like to say I want to see that more. Like, one of the things you always knew with R-Truth, right? As funny as R-Truth and, oh my gosh, I just,
Santino Marella.
Yeah, Santino Marella. As funny as they are, is as good they could wrestle. They had some, and they could take it to that level. And I just want to see them use Hausen in a way that showcases his talent and ability in the ring, to where it's not part of the funny story. Like, he actually is a good wrestler, I guess, is what I want to see. Because you could do all the funny thing. I remember as a kid, the term they used back then was midget wrestling, and it's not the right term these days, but and how that was kind of a highlight of the Saturday show when you were a young kid, to watch the small guys go out there and wrestle, and you would laugh and think it was funny and blah blah blah. But long story short, I think what they're doing with Danhausen, clearly he's gaining a huge fan base and becoming a big part of the story here. So I'm excited about it. It's cool to see him. I do like him, and yeah, I thought overall, even great match. I wouldn't say that the little guy was overwhelmed or outmatched. He held his own, and frankly, fit right into the storyline. And I didn't like it at first because I thought, you're right, maybe like somebody else would pop out of that time machine, like Obafemi or something. But at the end of the day, they did good. They pulled it off. So good job.
Thumbs up for me on that one. Rated out of 10. Solid 7 out of 10. Yeah, I'm glad that they fit Kate Wilson and The Miz onto the card. Honestly, I like how The Miz he made him enter WrestleMania with John Cena, but and now he's going to wrestling with Kate Wilson. But it's all right. I think The Miz is enjoying life right now, and he's near the end of his career anyways. So, but good match overall in my opinion. Moving on, let's talk about Asuka versus Io Sky. Now, I'll start. This match, let me say, it was probably my favorite of the night. I would say that they had the best match of the night, to be honest. All the speculation of the "we want Kyrie," everybody, all of that chance went away after the first 2-3 minutes because of how good this match was going on in the ring. I know everybody wanted Kyrie to return, but the talent that went on in the match that went on in this atmosphere was crazy. After the reversals, the turns after turns. This match was really, really good in my opinion. And at the end, to see Asuka kind of turn babyface and give Io Sky a hug, I believe that it's almost the end here for Asuka. Maybe it is the end. Her waving to the crowd, crying. I feel like this could be the end for Asuka, but what a match to go out if it was. And if that was the end, I'd like to say thank you to Asuka. But what a match. I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10 in my opinion.
Yeah. So, there's often times where the student becomes the master, and obviously, Asuka was a mentor and somebody who, really developed Io Sky over the years and was again, the master, the teacher, the professor, the senpai that taught and was clearly above, and she passed the torch in a big way last night. And impressive. I don't know if there's two more technically skilled women out there than those two as far as the moves that they can do and the way that they do them. But overall, yeah, it was a 10 out of 10. It was a clear, that match was so far above that it was great to see it. It was one that I'm sure I will remember for a long time. And if this is it for Asuka, she's got to know that she's left a huge mark on, this industry, this business. She's probably right up there in the top 3-4 women of all time, I would say, to be fair. And thank you to them both, actually.
I
Great
think
match, well done. 10 out of 10.
I think the talent that Asuka showed last night really showed how underutilized she was in these final couple of years that she's been wrestling. I feel like there's so much more she could have done here because she's literally the best NXT Women's Champion of all time, maybe best NXT Women's Wrestler of all time. No doubt about that. But the talent that was shown in this match was outstanding, and couldn't really have asked for anything better. So.
I think the thing I'll miss the most about that is what she used to yell for Kyrie. Like, you know, that was the funniest thing ever, man. And it just made you laugh every time. But yeah, awesome match, great show, well done.
But yeah, if it was the end for Asuka, thank you, Asuka, and I think it's time we move on. John Cena. We didn't know what that announcement was gonna be. Maybe it was a club WWE thing, or it was announcing a WrestleMania was for the year after Saudi Arabia. But no, that was not what it was. We have the John Cena tournament kind of PLE here, where wrestlers get to wrestle NXT wrestlers or AAA wrestlers or maybe even TNA wrestlers, where they get to go in a PLE and fight people for the John Cena Championship. That honestly is pretty cool in my opinion, but the thing I don't get is I wish that the voting part here, where he said the voting was that you could choose who the champion of the tournament is by the fans, I wish that aspect of getting the fans involved was maybe choosing the matches or choosing the stipulations of the matches, not who's going to be the champion, because you could have someone to the likes of Akira Tozawa, or have someone like Otis, or have someone like Danhausen maybe. Unless Danhausen would be a cool John Cena champion, but the fans could just vote somebody so silly that could just be the champion.
If Mr. Iguana wins, I'm going to be pissed. You know, I just don't want that. But you know, here's the thing, man. I got to be honest. I love the idea of an open challenge, a battle royal, a tournament. Those things are always cool, you know. Like, I got to be honest. Like the Andre the Giant battle royal has really lost its luster. There's not a lot going on there. I mean, you probably can't even name the last two winners of that.
Royce Keys and
yeah, like I said, you probably can't even rename the last two. So it really doesn't leave a mark on anything, and it really loses its. So what I'm afraid with the John Cena thing is, number one, we don't need any more titles. There's so many titles. Why don't we focus on the tag team championships and build that back up? You know, why don't we? You know, we tried it with the stupid 24/7 title, and that was a funny joke. And you know, we're struggling, I think, in the U.S. champion and the Intercontinental champion to make those relevant on a regular basis. You got AAA champion with Dominic. You got all of these things working out there with these title belts, and unfortunately, there's enough championships. I think we need to focus on getting the talent in the right places at the right time. But I don't think adding another John Cena title belt or John Cena hustle and loyalty belt or whatever the hell it's going to be is going to be something that really lasts. I remember back in the day they used to have a TV championship, a TV title. Was kind of cool because back then, you know, every Saturday you had wrestling was on TV. It kind of made sense. There used to be the Cruiserweight Championship. That's kind of gone away as well. You don't really see that too long. Now we have the Speed Championship, which gets some play on NXT, but it doesn't really get a lot of play on WWE.
They did move that. That's a title belt for the for NXT now. It's yeah.
It just I don't know what more we need. Why do we need another belt? I mean, there's too many.
I have a feeling I get that idea, but I feel like the John Cena belt is kind of like that kind of PLE's thing. Like, it's not going to be like a title that's defended on Monday Night Raw or other PLEs. I feel like it's what he was trying to talk about was like it's a title that happens at that specific PLE. But yeah, I get that. I also agree. The tag team division on both things have died. Really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. And I will say I'm gonna blame TKO. But
what is it really, like 5 true tag team five tag teams that are legit tag teams? I mean, left.
And some of them are just going over to AAA where they're getting used over there, but they can't be used in the main roster. Some of their actual you got the Usos, you have the Street Profits, you got Brutus Creed, and you got the Creed brothers. and yet they're behind masks with El Grande Americano.
Yeah, it's just bad. It's a bad setup all around. They got to really focus on. I would have rather seen them say, okay, we're going to focus on making these tag team belts legitimate, rather than create a whole new division, a new title, and all that stuff. It's just my opinion on it. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe I won't.
I do like the idea of having wrestlers from NXT wrestle people from the main roster. I think it's a great showcase.
We do that anyway.
I know we do, but having a whole, like, that idea from his retirement match really set that off, and I have a feeling that that's a good thing, because now even the wrestlers that don't get caught up just quite yet, they still have a chance to get that main roster rub and fight people. But I like the idea. But moving on to the main event, we have the OTC, Roman Reigns versus the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu.
Dude, all what I'm going to say is Roman Reigns is, man, this guy is chiseled, jacked, like out of a movie scene. This guy is, he's the perfect picture of a champion wrestler. The guy, talk about the pedigree, the history, the family, and he's amazing. So, obviously he's back, he's a champ, he's in the picture. This Jacob Fatu thing really kind of exploded. The only thing I would say is I remember when Umaga came out, and he was kind of the same wild, I don't want to use the term wild Samoans because they used to be the wild Samoans, but a wild kind of Pacific, guy, and was kind of nuts, and that didn't really last very long. Like Umaga didn't really get very far. I don't know. I know they're going to push Fatu, and I think they should because he's talented. But I don't know. I just thought the whole crazy thing was a little too much for me. But
listen, I enjoyed the build-up for Backlash for Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, but I like how they've really put this idea of the Tongan Death Grip being this insane move that should never be used unless it's for desperate situations, where Jacob Fatu has kind of overused it, which, like, in the commentators, Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, have put over this move desperately, and it has worked. But I have a feeling that Jacob Fatu using it over and over and over and over again, it really kind of takes away its meaning, I guess. Because apparently, as they said, it's supposed to be this out-of-pocket, desperate use of moves, but yet, just Jacob Fatu abusing it over and over again, it's kind of made it die for me. But I think the match was good. Roman Reigns winning is the right decision. It's definitely not over yet. Jacob Fatu took the title at the end and raised it in the air. He's not done. He wants Roman Reigns. I'm sure it's going to be finished at Clash in Paris. Clash in Italy. Think about last year. Never mind. But it's definitely going to be finished at Clash in Italy. I don't think that Roman's going to lose anywhere to Jacob Fatu. But the thing is, I don't know where Jacob Fatu goes from losing to Roman, because you're kind of taking away his steam he had. But overall, I think the match was good. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10, and looking to see where it goes.
I think they've already built it up. We know where this is going. Jacob said if he lost, he was going to burn down the tree. He was going to take down the family tree. So I think with that being said, he's going to go after Jay and Jimmy Uso. You're going to see him go after maybe Solo Sikoa. And I don't know. I just see if he's going to truly burn down the family tree, that's where he's going. You know, he's going to start attacking those guys, and it's going to be a storyline to get you through to maybe WrestleMania, where there's some bigger picture now between Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns again. Because even Roman last night in the post-match interview said that
it's his last night.
WWE. So they'll get some play out of that as well. But I thought it was a good match. I'm glad Roman's still the champ, because he should be. He's by far right now. Roman Reigns, I would say, is probably. Well, he's the best champion we have. And he's light years above everybody else. I don't think there's anybody in his category. The only one maybe that's going to challenge to the effect of his, maybe Obafemi gets there. But right now, Roman's just...
Roman's just keeping the title warm for CM Punk while he's away.
You're bad.
He's just keeping the title warm for CM
I don't
Punk.
think that's good.
All right. Anyways, it was a great show in my opinion. I would give the show a 9 out of 10. I think it was really good. Good stuff about it. Great matches, great length of the matches, and overall great show.
Yeah.
Looking forward to see where it goes, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Like
Make
and
some
subscribe.
comments. Yeah, like, sure. Make comments again. Tell us about the editing if you got anything. Obviously, Clash in Italy's coming up. We'll review that as well.
So
But
7
overall,
is moving.
We're on a good path. I think the pieces are in place, and it's exciting. Let's go.
But I have one last question. Can we fire Logan Paul?
No.
Okay.
Cannot.